Hello and welcome to the final topic of political science, the outcomes of democracy. Today, we have reached the final stage to define democracy as the best and exemplary form of government, compare it with other forms, and then reach to the conclusion. It is a political system whereby the representatives elected by the people take control of decision making as it is more practical and representatives are better informed. Here, this political system gives the power to the people to express their verdict and they control the decision making of the country by the participation and they are better informed of the policies. How does democracy become accessible or reachable to the people? What is the outcome or the result of it? It promotes equality, it develops equality, equality of social, economic, political equality. Everyone equal in the society without caste discrimination. That hierarchy, for namesake, it exists, but everybody is equal. Enhances the dignity of the individual. Economic equality is there in the country. Everyone has right to work. Political equality, one man, one vote, one value is the political equality which is promoted by this democracy. The rights which are granted to the individual make them dignified and they are developing as better citizens who contribute for the nation's up, uplifting or building the nation. Improves the quality of decision making. Through consultation, better decisions are reached in a democracy. Democracy provides a room to resolve the conflict, a method to resolve the conflict. It allows room to correct the mistakes. We get a chance to correct the mistake. If mistakes are there, we modify ourselves and we become better individuals, and these chances are enhancing the possibilities of collective living. Democracy is a government which is accountable, which is responsive, which is legitimate. The word accountable means a democratic government which is answerable to the people or to the parliament. When the people question, the government cannot deny and government has to answer. This right to information which is given to the people, they question on the working. People in authority cannot just close their eyes and remain silent, they should answer. It should be responsive, it should heed to the people's problems, the aims and aspirations of the people, the needs of the people should be fulfilled. The government takes decisions on different aspects, it makes policies, it forms policies. All that should be acceptable to the people, and that is a responsive government, that is listening, that is hearing, that is responding, that is responding to the people's needs. It is a government which is legitimate, which is legally binding, the government which works according to the set of rules and regulations, through the norms and the principles, proper procedure and guideline which are given by the constitution. The constitutional principles are taken into consideration. It is legally binding, the legal framework is connected, and this government is working according to those set of rules. There is absolute transparency, openness in all transactions. Nothing can be denied. So, the Right to Information Act empowers people to question the authority, the question the government on its working. How is the work going on? And the authority, the people in power should not get offended. They should answer. They should give a clear cut explanation of this. These aspects, when fulfilled at most, this makes democracy a success. Accountability, responsiveness, legitimacy, and transparency. We can see here democracy as a old man. This old man here is the democracy, age old government, age old form of rule, which is a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And the stones are the different kinds of problems which are thrown from different sectors. And this government has to take all these stones and answer them. These stones are the challenges which are facing democracy. Every challenge should be taken, and those stones should not be stones of question mark, but those stones should be used in nation building. Everyone questions, and those questions of criticism should be used for nation building. Here we can see in this image the amplification. Here, whatever are the needs of the people, those needs of the people should be identified, and the government should clear them. How does democracy make growth in the country? Only growth is enough, or there should be development? So, economic growth and economic development. When we say economy, a country's monetary policy with regard to primary, secondary, and tertiary sector. Increase in income and production. There is income in the country which is increasing, production is also increasing, and there is economic growth. When economic growth is happening, along with that, quality of life is also improving, then we say development is happening. So here quantitative growth, quantity is increasing, quantity, and here quantity plus quality is increasing. Quantitative growth plus qualitative improvement. There is a change which is brought about in the society. People are getting better quality of life. They are living a better standard of life. When this is happening, then there is development. Economic growth is measured in terms of income, and economic development is measured, national income is taken into consideration, our life index, human development index. When we say our health, economic status, social indicators, economic indicators, all the infrastructural facilities which we are having, when all these things are available to a man, no one is living below poverty line, there is no unemployment, all these aspects are taken care by the government, then there is development. So quantitative measurement is happening in economic growth, and here quality is changing. Today technology has made our life so easy. Today everything is simplified. Sitting in our home, we can book tickets. We can see that any product which is available in any part of the world will come to your house. All this is happening with technology. Quality life we are leading. Emphasis is on the purely economic basis. Here emphasis is on socio-economic factors. When we say socio, our social life, our life in the society is also affected. So growth happens here in a short term, here in a long term, the growth plus change plus quality happens, that leads to development. Economic growth is steadily increasing here in this graph. Economic development is a slow process rather, but it is bringing about total change and better living conditions, better economy. Everything is available that satisfies our needs. People are not struggling for anything. Economic growth and development, if you consider all democracies and all dictatorships for the past 50 years, 1950 to 2000, dictatorships have slightly higher rate of economic growth. But this alone cannot be reason to reject democracy. Democracies, the countries which have been subjugated under colonial rule, they have emerged as victorious. They got independence and they are bringing about a lot of changes in them. The difference in the rates of economic development between less developed countries and dictatorships and democracies is to be referred as its eligible criteria. What is the criteria? The criteria is only literacy rate, only growth in the developmental aspects, that is production in primary, secondary, tertiary sector. Along with the growth, everybody is getting employment. Are they having better standard of living? Transport, communication, medical facilities are available. All these things should be taken into considerations. If we look at this tabular data represented here, all democratic regimes growth rate we can see, dictatorial we can see poor countries, we can see poor countries under dictatorship, poor countries under democracy. Inequality of income, it's always seen that some regions which are developed, the top 20, they are utilizing the highest amount of countries income, they are utilizing. Whether it is a democratic country where ownership of all the important aspects is with the government, or is it a dictatorial country? South Africa, Brazil, Russia, USA, UK, Denmark, Hungary, and we see here the bottom 20. A comparative analysis says that the share of the total income of the country from primary, secondary, and tertiary sector, that is having an impact with the top 20%. They have the capital investment and thereby they are working for profit, and so a larger amount of proportion is going for the rich and the prosperous sections. There is one respect in which democratic government is certainly better than its alternatives. The democratic government is a legitimate government. It may be slow, it may be less efficient because all decisions are not accepted. There is lot of discussion and debate. Everybody has to come to consensus. Not always very responsive and clean. Immediately it cannot respond. It's a very big system which exists. A democratic government is the people's own government. We, the people, make the government, and that's why there is overwhelming support for the idea of democracy all over the world. As the accompanying evidence from the South Asia shows that the support exists in countries with democratic regimes as well as the countries without democratic regimes. People wish to be ruled by representatives who are elected by them because they are answerable. They should be answerable. Look at the map. Democracy is preferred over dictatorship everywhere except Pakistan. South Asia, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, Nepal. Democracy is preferable in red region. Yellow, sometimes dictatorship is better. Doesn't matter to me, whatever may be the situation. With this, we see that if you take into consideration South Asia, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Pakistan, there is overwhelming response to democracy. The economic outcomes of democracy, the 5 year plans, if we take into consideration the growth in the agricultural industrial sector, we see the unemployment problem which is resolved, so many reforms which are brought about by the government. All these things are really acceptable. People cannot say no for a democratic regime in our country. Democracies are based on political equality. Dr. Ambedkar said there can be political equality, one man, one vote, one value, but social and economic equality has to exist. Every person should get right to work, right to life. Everyone. All individuals have equal weight in electing their representatives, but in economic sphere, growing inequality. The top 20, the rich people, and the disappropriate or disproportionate share of wealth and income which is going in their part. That is a result of inequality in income distribution. The bottom 20, their income is decreasing. They find to live in a very, very difficult situation. It's very difficult for them to meet their two ends, their basic needs, food, clothing, shelter, are not fulfilled. In actual life, democracy does not appear to be very successful in reducing income inequalities because big democracies will take a lot of time to resolve the disputes. Overnight, we cannot wipe out the poverty. Overnight, we cannot resolve the unemployment problem. It is a time consuming task, and it has taken a lot of time to handle this situation. There is political equality in our country. How can we say this? We can say this because there is equal weightage in electing our representatives as compared to political equality. Economic equality is still, inequality is still there. So we need to focus by providing job for everybody. How can we reduce the inequality and also poverty? Democracies are based on the political equality. All individuals have equal right in electing their representatives. In actual life, democracies do not appear to be very successful because a big proportion of the country's income is used by the top 20%, and the bottom 20% or 30%, they don't have the access to the basic amenities. One will be startled to know that there are so many people who live on the streets whose names are not there in the Aadhaar card list, whose names are not mentioned in the voters list because they don't have a address. It's really, really shocking. Economic inequality is existing. The small number of ultra rich people, highly disproportionate share of wealth they are enjoying. How can we accommodate this social diversity? India is a country with so many castes, approximately 6748 castes. The caste pyramid, the hierarchy, the system of casting, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. This hierarchy, the pyramid, is having so many subcastes in it. And how do we accommodate such a diversity? The constitution makers have made it very, very clear that All the people belonging to all religions, all castes, they have here a role to be the citizen of India. They have granted the universal adult franchise. Every citizen of the country is representing the functioning of the government. They may be minority, they may be majority. Majority functioning should not be imposing on the minority. The rule by majority that is existing, every decision, every case, every election, it should be in such a way that it should be with consultation, and the opinion of the minority should be also taken into consideration. No one is barred from the election fray. Every candidate in the country has a role to play, either as a voter. If he is eligible, he can even file his nomination. This accommodation of social diversity is one of the fundamental features of federalism. The two important aspects is uphold the unity and integrity of the country and accommodation of social diversity. In spite of so many differences, we all live here amicably, peacefully in our country. No society can fully and permanently resolve all the conflicts amongst themselves. There may be conflicts with regard to culture, with regard to practices, so many conflicts. If these differences, divisions, and conflicts are handled with harmony, with peaceful atmosphere, understanding one another's feelings, then the rule in the community may be on the basis of religion, on the basis of language, on the basis of majority. It should not be imposed, but it should be accommodating. Everybody's opinion is heard and everybody is important in the society, because the dignity of the individual is taken into consideration. The dignity individual is granted, the rights and freedom of the citizens is protected. Democracy stands much superior to any other form of government in promoting dignity and freedom of the individual. Every individual wants to receive respect from fellow beings. We will get respect only when we give. It's all give and take policy. Respect cannot be demanded. Your nature, your contribution, your image, your identity gets you, earns you all that respect. Often conflicts arise among individuals because some feel that they are not treated with due respect. The passion for respect and freedom are the basis for democracy. Every individual is treated with respect. There is no untouchability today. If a person is coming 100 years ago who left India is coming back to India and sees that today everything is changed. The dignity of women, it is no doubt a patriarchal society, but women are in the society playing a very, very dominant role. Historically, it was a male dominated society, but the long drawn struggles of women asking for the equal rights, the feminist movement, the sensitive issues, the demonstrations made, the movements led in a democratic society. All these are the aspects, the ingredients which make democratic society the status of women equal, and they are treated equal with due respect. This principle is recognized and it becomes easier for women to wage struggle today. And what is now unacceptable legally and morally, that the law is giving equality, justice for women, not being them, keeping them subjugated. They have representation, the representation at the local bodies, at the legislative organs, the parliament, state legislative organs, and also the highest lawmaking body, the parliament. In a non democratic setup, even today, the discrimination exists. But in a democracy, the principle of equality of gender equality, no man can say that women is not suitable for any work. Today, women have reached the space and they are into any aspect. Nothing can stop. Sky and even beyond the sky is the limit. There is no limit, in fact. The freedom and dignity would not have the legal and moral force there. The same is true with caste inequalities. Today, untouchability, if anyone practices Article 17 of Indian Constitution, declares that untouchability is a sin, untouchability is a crime, untouchability is inhuman, untouchability is irrational. The governments make this declaration in all the textbooks, declaring to the people, to the young people who are getting education, who are seeking education, this kind of practice is wrong. Democracy in India has strengthened the claims of the disadvantaged and discriminated castes, and they are granted with equal status and equal opportunities. Today, women have a respectable position, and this is the image where we can see Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Nepal, India, Bangladesh, and South Asia. Belief in the efficacy of vote is placed above the calculus of utility. Sorry. So, this says that the representation of women, here women in the Scandinavian countries, they prove women to be more efficient. This calculation which is showing they are most eligible, most efficient, reaching the highest strata level, dignity and freedom of citizens. Democracy stands as much superior to any other form of government in promoting dignity and freedom of individual. Democracy in India has strengthened the claim of the disadvantaged. We have just seen the untouchables, the downtrodden, who have not enjoyed the rights today. Equal opportunities are given. The constitution makers. There is representations for all sections in a democracy. They ask for more and want to make democracy even better. What are the conditions under which democracy accommodates the social diversity? It is a fair expectation that democracy should produce a harmonious society, a society wherein people belonging to all sections, all castes, all religions, all beliefs, all cultural ethnicities live together. Democracies usually develop a procedure to conduct their competition. It would reduce the possibility of tensions. Everybody is having an opportunity to represent. No society can fully and permanently resolve any conflicts. If at all any differences are there, those differences should be treated amicably, resolve conflicts with discussion and understanding. It is based on deliberation and negotiation. A purposeful attempt. What is the aim of democracy is very clear cut. And when we cannot reach the ultimate, we negotiate, we bargain the terms. In a non democratic regime, they don't listen to the internal differences, they just close their ears and turn a blind eye to the problems of the people. The ability to handle the social differences and divisions and also conflicts is the merit of the democracy. In a country like India, after so many years of independence, we see that it has given a peaceful government. We coexist with so many differences. So many ethnicities, so many languages, 1652 languages and dialects approximately. So many cultures, so many religions, so many castes will salute the same national flag, sing the same national anthem. How does democracy provide or produce an accountable, responsive, and legitimate government? This is the final one. This brings the total picture of democracy, the success of democracy. It makes an accountable one because it is responsible. As the people have the right to choose, they are choosing their representative through the electoral process. Elected representatives form the government and participate in decision making. This decision making, they are participating on behalf of the people. We, the people, have elected them and they are making the decisions for our good. If these elected representatives and they don't work properly in any way, we have the right to remove them. We don't give a chance for them to be elected in the next election. That is the public opinion, the voice of the people. They raise their voice. The people should be vigilant, watchful, very alert. Their job is not over by giving the verdict after electing. They should be very, very watchful. This presentation on the final stage of democracy, the government of the people, by the people, for the people, given by Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of America. And we studied 10 years of political science in the CBSE, and we arrived at the outcomes that the most responsible government in resolving the conflicts, in giving room to correct our mistakes, in providing a chance to make decisions, in being collective harmony with one another, and having political equality, economic equality, social equality, coexistence with peace and harmony, accommodating so many people with so much of differences or diversity. This presentation is made by Veena Madhuri, my student of class 10D. I take delight in explaining this chapter. The challenges to democracy is deleted, and if it is added back next year, I will upload that video. And I take delight in explaining. Children, anywhere any doubts, please text me. Thank you so much. I am coming up with the few more topics which are there. With that, we will complete the total syllabus of class 10. Thank you so much. God bless you all.